welcome. Thank you, Michelle. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad to have the opportunity to speak before you. I'm a strong believer is that when you know better, you can do better. So hopefully this informational session here will help educate you on the opportunities that's out there, some provide you some solutions, and help you better prepare yourself for the upcoming future moving forward. So today we're going to get started with the agenda. We're going to talk about, give you a little bit about my background, talk briefly about my book. We're going to talk about the student loan program. We'll talk about articles and complaints out there, some organizations doing some things. We'll talk about the 2010 Educational Reconciliation Act. This is law. This was voted by Congress and the Senate and was passed back in 2010. It's just unfortunate it was coupled with healthcare reform, and most people didn't understand the second part, which they didn't mention, is the Educational Reconciliation Act. We're going to listen to a testimony. I'm going to share my own testimony with some numbers just to put things in perspective for you. Then we'll talk about the company that helped me get to where I'm at. But once again, it's just the company that helped me. If you want to try to do it yourself, good luck with that. But I didn't do that, and now I'm doing pretty well. Then I open the door for questions. Let's get started. Who am I? So I was employed by Blue Cross Blue Shield. I started there as a graphic artist back when 2080, 1988. Look at me, 2000. Decided to go back to school. Got influenced by some people at the company, a couple of mentors, and I went back to school and got me a degree from DeVry Institute, a Bachelor in Computer Information Systems. While at Blue Cross, I worked in about 15 different areas. I was selected by people of the executive group to take over dysfunctional organizations that help build high-performing teams. So I've been doing this for quite a while. As I said earlier, I graduated from DeVry, got into IT, and began to accelerate and move up pretty fast. Later, back in 2000, I forgot, somewhere around 2010, I went back to school and got a graduate degree in my MBA and a graduate certificate in health services management. And recently, I got an IDOL certification. I'm a strong believer in education. I served in the Army National Guard for 22 years. I started out in field artillery. So I spent weeks out in the woods playing war games, doing strategy sessions, shooting weapons. Yeah, it's kind of interesting for a guy that's in IT. And then later, the state asked me to take over a personnel support unit, which a year later, I took them over to the war in Iraq in 2003. So I was there before the war, during the bombing for the next, seemed like forever, 40 to 50 days. And I stayed there another 6 to 7 months, doing personnel support, armed guard escort on delivery vehicles, working in hospitals, making sure we care for people, tracking casualties and deaths, all of those good things. I've been speaking in the Chicago public school system for about 25 years. So today I do STEM talks for Lumini, where I talk about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, the importance of it, and why it's a big need for it today. And then I do keynote speaking, and I just talk a lot to businesses about healthcare reform, how that's impacting not only the business, but how it's impacting members. Recently, in 2018, I started Woodlawn Diversity in Action. And it's the story behind that. I started the organization because I left Blue Cross. And in order for me to stay in the forgiveness program, I needed to work for a non-for-profit, which was pretty interesting. So I decided to start my own. And so be it. If you check the website out, you'll see some of the recent projects and past projects we have worked on, helping people in our community, students, young adults, and seniors. I'm also a member of Apostolic Faith under the Bishop Horace Smith, who's been my bishop for about 25 years. I own Creating Life Goals. After I left Blue Cross after 27 years, I went and got certified as a John Maxwell speaker, teacher, trainer, and coach. I'm a certified CPS vendor, and I serve in a consultant role as Vice President of Business Development for a financial aid network. Real quick, talk a little bit about my book. So with all the years and experience I have in leadership, I decided to write a book, and I was completely inspired. God just put it on my heart to help people, one, help themselves, two, help themselves to help other people, whether it be your family, your brother, sister, aunts, your teams, or in an organization. So the first part of the book, it was one of the things that we talk about is all the opportunity in business faced with employment turnover, engagement, attracting new clients, all those issues and opportunities, why families are breaking up, why we struggle with our own plans in life. So I decided to write a book to talk about what worked for me with great examples. So the first thing before becoming a leader, the book talks about you leading yourself. So I give you three fundamental principles on what you need to lead yourself, including putting in the work. They never stop. I still continue to use these principles today. One of them is health, right? So when you're healthy, you can do a lot of extra things. You have the energy to execute on whatever plan that you have for yourself, what God planned you for. It's a very, very good book. And then later I talk about what are some of the things you need to face as a leader, whether you're in your family, whether you're at a company or running an organization. So fundamental principles that's been used across the way. So this is just a couple of reviews that came out recently from people, because the book just came out last month. One of the CIOs of Central States, he said, Charles nailed it in this book. The core of being a great leader is knowing yourself and knowing that you want the best outcomes for yourself and those of whom you are responsible. At the center of the core is love. You could feel the care, the passion, the love, doing the right things for the right reasons on every page. The book is choked full of unassuming wisdom, simply spoken and unabashedly honest in every way. Anyone who aspires to lead themselves, their families, their teams should start with this book. Then I got quite a few reviews. So if you look at my website, you can read all of them. One of the retired teachers, the book tells of one man's life's journey is inspiration and motivational. No matter where you are in your own journey, the book speaks to the qualities and work it takes to become one's best self and a great read. And then finally, Guy wrote, I met and worked with Charles at a previous company and found him to be an inspirational leader. This book is worthwhile read with personal insights that help you think and apply. So one of the things I try to do is not only do I live this is my life, but I'm very transparent. And all these leaders you see on the pages have those fundamental principles. They execute on each and every one of them. All right, let's talk about student loans. What is the problem? 80% of federal student loan borrowers do not know about the programs. Oh, it's so unfortunate. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. And every time I do a presentation, not only do I hear the stories, but people really don't know about the program. 90% of federal student loan borrowers are not in their lowest repayment plan. There's about 44.7 million Americans with student loan debt, totaling $1.56 trillion in debt, with 11% of people being late or in default. There's about 273,000 people in Illinois with student loan debt, and overall, 69% of students' average debt is about $32,000. One of these numbers have come from back in 2019. Because of COVID, everything stopped and everything was put on hold. But these numbers are all relevant. Why should it be problem be solved? There are so many people getting their checks garnished, IRS collecting their refunds. It impacts your credit report. If you default on a loan, oh my goodness, that is horrible. You can actually get your license suspended. I have a few articles that we can look at to discuss how that's working in other states. And deferment and forbearances are not forgiveness or discharge program. All you're doing is prolonging the pain, the agony. So when you look at some of the news articles like Bay News, surge in healthcare workers suspended for student loan default. Now you're a healthcare worker. You get your license suspended. Then you don't have a job. How do you pay back student loans? That I don't understand, but this is what's going on in society today. Forbes reported student loan forgiveness rejects about 99% of applicants. The process is so complex that people who did it on their own, this is one of the reasons they got rejected. And that's why for me, which you'll understand later, why I paid to have someone do my paperwork and negotiate on my behalf. And even on the federal student loan site, there was 1 million people attempt to certify. Borrowers who submitted applications was 19,000. Only 55 was granted. So out of 1 million people, 55 was approved for not only the repayment program, but one of the forgiveness or discharge programs. All right, so these are the most complaints according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You got Navigant Solutions or Sallie Mae. They have about 12 million borrowers. You got the American Educational Service, NAIL-NAD, Wells Fargo, Great Lakes, ACS. So everyone probably on this phone, if you got student loans, probably fall in one of these categories, unless you're got loans from another organization. So it's important to know that the reason it's so complex, not only is it complex for the Fed, but it's complex for these organizations to process your loans correctly. And it's due for a couple of reasons. So what came about in 2010 is the Educational Reconciliation Act, which was signed into law by Barack and our current president, Joe Biden. So he came up with a whole different lot of options for student loan repayment options, student loan discharge, and then student loan forgiveness. Because it was so complex, I believe that was the reason only 55 out of a million people got approved. Because you need to understand how the program works. You need to understand how financial aid works. You need to understand how the law is written. And this, just like anything else, all the laws are very complex. So one of the things you can think about when I share this information with you is student loan forgiveness. Think of it as GI Bill on steroids. Yes, I'm a war vet. So this is what I think of, because the GI Bill does benefit me tremendously. So one of the programs of the many payment programs is called the Income Sensitive Program. We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the discharge and forgiveness programs that's out there. The Income Sensitive Program. Under the Income Sensitive Program, consumers' monthly payments are based on your income and family size. If you're doing this yourself, and because we're being recorded, they look at your family size. If you have a certified financial advisor do it for you, they'll help you walk through what this is defined as. So when you look at the Sensitive Program, it can possibly benefit you to have a payment of $0 a month. The plan is designed around affordability. Parent Plus loans, graduate loans are all included. So if you're a parent, you got student loan debt for your kids, you can put that all together, whether it's 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, no matter what the amount is, you do qualify for these programs. Now, I need to put a caveat on this. It's a federal program, so it's for federal loans. It's not for private loans. That's a different monster that we're not going to discuss today, but any federal type loans, including Parent Plus loans. So what kind of forgiveness programs are out there? So you have your 10-year loan forgiveness. So if you work for a non-for-profit organization, hospital, public service, federal, state, local, etc., law enforcement, public health, you're a nurse, school teachers, health practitioners, you all qualify for a 10-year loan forgiveness program. Now, mind you, if your payments are 0 and you got 10 years of forgiveness, I think you can make your payments on time all the time. At least I do today. So just to give you an idea. Then there's a 20-year program. So if you're retired or you have federal loans that don't qualify for any above organizations, you have 20 years of making payments, which is separate from your payment plan that you have. If you can keep it at 0, you just have to wait 20 years in order to get all the remaining balance of your loans forgiven. And then finally, graduate doctorate programs, retired people with Parent Plus loans. This varies. Once again, it's very complex. So everybody's situation is a little different. So we've helped you try to figure out which one you qualify for. All this information is available on the student loan website, which is complex within itself. Then you have discharge programs. So you have a teacher's loan discharge program. What I did put in here was they also have discharge programs for nurses too. So you can get money, basically, if you teach in a Title I school and you've been there for a period of 3 or 4 years or something like that, they automatically deduct $17,500, or more from your student loan based on what kind of programs are out there for that year. And the pandemic has showed us they create programs more and more to help us recover from the pandemic. If your school is closed, and for example, one of the Westwood, all the people that went to Westwood and the school closed, and they applied for the Discharge program, Joe Biden just signed over to discharge all of those people loans who had put the application in to get their student loans discharged. It was about $1 billion. So all those people loans are gone completely. Then you have what they call a disability discharge. You have people that's permanently disabled and VA disabled. So these people they qualify after 3 years of being in the program, proving that you do have a disability. Yes, you do have to send paperwork to your doctor to fill out for you saying that you are actually disabled. Just like with any other program, your organization or your company have to submit documentation stating that you are a teacher or you are a nurse, or identify what schools are closed. And then if anybody forged your loans, of course, that could be easily proven. You can get your loans discharged for that. And these discharges happen immediately, by the way. They can be done within 3 to 6 months. Now that Trump is out of office and they're not holding any of the people's loans that's for discharge, Biden went on and started discharging people loans who qualify. So let's talk about defaulted loans. 1 in 5 student loan borrowers are in default, which is very unfortunate. You have what they call a non-consolidated federal loan default. This is when you have multiple loans, you made a defaulted on 2 and you current on another 2. So usually what happens is when you go to consolidate it usually takes about 30 to 90 days max, earliest 30, to get you out of default. Then you have what they call the consolidated federal loan default. If your loans was consolidated and you're in default, well, you have to get into a program. And it's called a 9-month rehab program. I don't know how to do it personally, but the organization I do work with and who's done it for me know how to get this done. They negotiate with any collection agencies, loans providers, which you'll learn later in this conversation. So in the rehab program, you have to make monthly payments consecutively for up to 9 months. If they negotiate on your behalf, which you're here in a testimony, they can get you down as little as $5 a month. And student loan borrowers, this is very, very, very important, only allow 2 defaults, not 2 months late, but if you went into default and then you got yourself out of default, then you went in default again and you got yourself out of default, there's nothing no one can do for you. You do have to pay off your student loans the best way you know how. We haven't had no programs or anything. There has been some exceptions if you hire somebody to negotiate on your behalf. Now, here's a interview because she couldn't be here. So I did a quick testimonial interview with one of the people who's part of the program. Let's take a listen. Hello, hi. We are talking to Chancey Brewer today. She is one of the thousands of financial aid network clients and a good friend of mine. Since she could not be here in person, she recommended that we record a short testimonial, which I appreciate more than anything. I will ask her about 5 questions, and let's get started. Chauncey, what is your name and one interesting fact that you would like people to know about you?
Well, first off, my name is Chancey Brewer, and I'm gonna fight you. But one interesting fact is that I have a motorcycle license, but I never purchased a bike because during my class, I thought I was really grooving and rolling, and I applied the brakes. During the turn, not a good idea. I flipped over the bike, fell in 2 seconds, and realized that was not for me. So I finished the class. I have the license, but I never purchased a bike. So
wow, and I didn't even know that about you after all these years. That is an interesting type of story. Chancey, where do you work and what is your job role?
I am a special education teacher, which the new term is learning behavior specialist. for Sarah E. Good Sim Academy. This is my 26th year of teaching, and my school is located on the southwest side, right behind the Nabisco plant.
Wow, been there a long time. I know you've been teaching a long time, but not.
I've been teaching a long time, but I haven't been at Good this is my 6th year at Good, but I've been teaching for 25 years.
Wow.
I've earned my stripes.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome, and that's what it feels like.
Briefly explain your student loan situation prior to financial aid network.
Okay, so prior to, I was trying to make payments, eventually got behind, and I wound up being in a terrible situation where my student loans were in default. They then started garnishing my check. I was basically trying to make ends meet using my aunt's little money income because I was caring for her. And it was just really a bad situation. And I really didn't feel like I didn't know how to get out of the situation. So as of current, I have $118,471 in student loan debt.
Wow.
And I really felt defeated, hopeless. I'm like, man, they are really taking me to the bank with the payment that they're requesting and requiring. It was like I was paying a second mortgage. I was like, this is not going to work. Plus garnishing my check. And after our conversation, you and I, about the loan forgiveness program, I was like, oh my God, there is a God. So moving forward, it just, that whole loan forgiveness program let me backtrack. The loan forgiveness program that I found out about, they contacted me, which should have been a dead giveaway as something that I shouldn't have trusted. I wound up making payments towards this loan forgiveness program, and to my, information from you guys or Miss Beverly, I found out later on that was not a true program. So they was just taking my money.
Wow. Yeah, I kind of remember that story.
Yeah.
Briefly explain your current student loan situation after working with financial aid network.
Well, so after you explained to me how the program worked, and then told me specifically like what documentation I would need and the process, and I asked enough questions and gained clarity, then you passed me through to Miss Beverly after I got all of those documents together. And she literally walked me step by step with regards to how to stop the payments that I was making to this other predatory loan repayment program that was not even actually putting me in a loan forgiveness program at all. They hadn't even started, and they had been taking my money for at least about 4 or 5 months. So she helped me step by step to stop the payments towards them, actually request my refund back from them, and they gave me all of my money back. Along with, she helped me to actually go through the process of getting the money that the government was garnishing from my check after the CARES Act went into play. So I was able to recoup not only my money from the previous loan forgiveness program, but some of the money that they were garnishing. Wow. I received that back in checks from them and was able to apply them towards other debts that I had. And then I gave her all documentation, paid the fee that was required to start the program. And she also asked me if I would give her power of attorney so that she would be then my spokesperson and be able to work directly with federal student loans, being able to get my loans out of default and back with direct student loans so that I could be in good standing first and then be placed into the loan forgiveness program, which I am now currently. So I make a payment of $5 a month, which has been actually put on pause because of the CARES Act and COVID. And so I don't start that back up until September, my $5 a month payment. And I am just looking forward to recertifying I can't wait to make my payment again because I know that I'm going to see a statement that's going to have some deduction on this $118,000.
Congratulations.
Win.
Congratulations. So what would you like to tell people who are in student loan debt?
I would like to tell people to ask enough questions until you gain all the clarification that you need. Make sure you have all your documentation in place when you're moving forward to actually start the program, which it should be very easy for you if you really want to receive this relief, because it was a great relief for me. And believe it, it is true. So I want to thank you, Charles. I want to thank Miss Beverly, Jesus, and Obama.
You're more than one.
For real. This is a relief for real. I mean, I'm able to apply, I'm able to get my full check and apply it towards other debts. And, you know, basically getting myself to debt free. I have one credit card, and I'm not feeling like I'm defeated anymore. I'm working and earning my wages and being able to use it for what I need to. I'm actually looking towards, you know, renting this home that I'm in and looking to buy something different. So, yeah.
It really helps, huh?
Absolutely. But for those that are skeptical, you know, this is the true thing. This is the real deal.
Well, we appreciate you, and of course, you're gonna be my girl for life.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves you. She calls you her favorite. I don't know what that's about because I'm not in those conversations. But I know you. I can only imagine how things work.
Yes, I love Miss Beverly.
Thank you, and thank you very much for your testimony.
You are absolutely welcome.
All right, that was her testimony. So what I'd like to share with you is a little bit about my personal testimony. There's nothing like hearing from the person that's in it. I'm a strong believer, just like in my book. Everything I teach in the book is what I actually apply to my life. So everything I'm about to tell you about student loans, this is what really happened with me. So back in 2014, my payments went from $700 to about $1,595 a month. Now I was working at Blue Cross, I was in IT, I was well into the six figures, and the payment was just ridiculous. I just had a house bill, son in college. It was like, nah, you know, so at the time, my wife and I was like, okay, what are we gonna do about this? So moving forward, what I ended up doing is did some research, contacted Beverly. I didn't believe it, but when I did the research, I started to take a chance. So the first thing she did was, in order for me to pay the fee, she put my student loans in a forbearance. So instead of paying student loan of $1,500, I paid them a fee, which you'll learn in the next couple of slides, and she took care of everything else. I gave her power of attorney. 2 months later, I got a statement in the mail. My new payment was $159 a month. And I was in a 10-year forgiveness program because at the time, Blue Cross Blue Shield Illinois was a non-for-profit organization. Today, since I'm gone from Blue Cross, my payment is $0. 5 years to forgiveness. Now, this is 2019, so I get credit for the year because of the pandemic. So I'm 4 years to forgiveness. And that's one of the reasons I started my non-for-profit. So this is what it looks like, the statement that I get. This is my actual statement. I don't know if you all can see it, but if you look here, it says my monthly payment amount will be $0 a month, which is due on 5/28/2019. All payments I do between 5/28/2019 and 5/1/2020. If I didn't qualify, my payments would be $1,831.09. And you see over here, my payments are actually zero. Because this is 2019 and the pandemic was 2020, and my payments would have started up 2020, everything was put on hold. So my next statement should be coming probably October, November, saying the same thing. And hopefully in 3 years, all my student loans will be forgiven. And that's about $159,000 more today. So I believe in being transparent. So when I look at calculating or forecasting my savings, this is for me. Everybody's situation is different. Like I didn't have garnishments unlike Chancey did, but for me, this is what I started looking at. So it cost me $8.99 one-time fee, which saved me $646 because I was paying $15.45. The cost for 5 years, there's what Chancey mentioned on the phone, you have to recertify every year to stay in the program. That's a $250 fee. So you submit all the same paperwork, they make sure you stay in the program. So for 5 years, I've been in the program, it cost me $1,000. So my first 2 years of savings was this minus the $157 that I was making payments on for times 24 months. I saved about $37,000. And then after I left lacrosse, started my own organization, I was paying $0 a month. So now when you look at this multiplied by 3 years, it's about $55,620. So my total cost is the $8.99 plus the $1,000 for the 4 years was $1,899 over a 5-year period. My total savings is $95,801. Unlike everybody else, I did put my money to the side. I saved it, and I ended up buying my condo. So I have no mortgage, have no car note, and it's working out very well for me. And now I'm still paying $0. And by the way, when a $0 is considered a payment on your credit report, so it looks like you're paying your student loans on time. Who is Financial Aid Network? All right, Beverly, who she mentioned, is the founder and president of Financial Aid Network, LLC. They're industry leader in the financial aid profession with 26 years of experience. So she's the lady that used to go to financial aid when you're in college that ran the financial aid department. She decided that when she's working in New York, working for a couple of dental schools and doctoral schools, she found out that so many people was just getting beat on their student loans. And when Barack came out with a plan, she did the research and started her own company back in 2011. They're a college aid financial support company, but they also are experts and give you guidance on scholarships and grant search, and then for people across the U.S. FAN was founded in 2011. They located in Florida, New York, Jamaica, and have successfully processed over 11,000 applications. We now have a presence in the Midwest, and I'm considered, because of the role I play, I train a lot of the account execs across the country to do some of the same things I'm doing now, at the same time tell their story. They're experienced in college financial aid processing, awards review, appeals, admission services, you name it. If it's got anything to do with college and costs, they're doing pretty well. Now I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try it anyway. So they featured in this magazine in August 2018. If I click on it, I wonder if it's going to come up on the screen. But making it possible impossible for Financial Aid Network. So on the internet, this Black-owned business. It's actually a family-owned business by 2 women. And hopefully in the next, there we go. This is the article. And in the article, we talk about FAN makes dreams become a reality, enable people, talk about what we just talked about now. And then that's Beverly, and that's Trinice, who's our daughter. And they've been doing this for a very long time.
Charles, we can't see it. Can you share that screen with us?
Okay, thank you. Let's see, new share. Let me see. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So this is the article, Making the Impossible Possible by Financial Aid Network. FAN makes dreams come true. Talk about all the things they did and the people they helped over time. This is Beverly, and that's her daughter, Trinice. They both financial aid administrators. So they're not just advisors. They actually work in the financial aid office for many colleges. And they do a lot of different work. So let's get back to the presentation. Can you see the presentation now?
Yes, we can. And Charles, send me that link. I want to share that with the group.
Okay, we'll do.
Thank you.
All right. So what FAN did for me. So he did a personal in-depth student loan analysis. All this is for free. They looked at all my student loans. I gave them access to my account, gave them authority to negotiate on my behalf. They design the best plan, repayment plan for me based on what they know. And if you looked at the previous in presentation, there are so many different kind of plans and so many options that it's unfortunate that so many people who tried to do it themselves, which I wasn't gonna be one of those people, they ended up not being in the program after making payments for 10 years. They had negotiated with banks, credit unions, loan services on your behalf. They consolidated all my loans. I had quite a few because I had an undergrad, graduate, and then a master's certificate. They put you in a program and remove collections, garnishments, and any defaults. They handle all transactions. You just need to, when they call you and they ask for information, you just need to make sure you send it right away. They stop licenses from getting suspended or reinstatement. Now, this recent article, I was doing some research on the weekend, and I came across this article, which is very interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that the Educational Reconciliation Act is law. So have patience with me as we look at this article. It's dated July 8, 2021. Now many student loan borrowers will soon be getting new services. Here's why. So the people who process your student loan, Fed loan, is losing a contract with the government. They haven't decided on what loan services they're going to go with, which is interesting. Right now, I read another article where they talked about extending the student loan program, the pandemic program, for another 6 months until they find a new loan services. So in the meantime, the reason they're getting rid of them because, and this is one of the things I want to highlight, some borrowers, after making 10 years of payments, found out that they did not have the right kind of federal student loan or were in the wrong repayment plan or worked for an employer that did not qualify for forgiveness. Can you imagine somebody telling you, because there's so many bogus organizations out there. Chancey was one of the ones that got. They're doing so many things because they just want your money. And people are paying this money and they are not in their program. So you do this for 10 years and you find out you're not in the program, that is heartbroken. And I know a couple of people that actually fell into that category because they gave me a call later after visiting one of my presentations. So right now, this is the article, and I'll send this link along for people to read because I believe it's a great article. Now, what's going to happen with the government? I have no idea. This is just released as of July 8th, but it takes Congress and it takes Senate to change the law. Now, Biden can add to it, but he can't take away. So one thing about Financial Aid Network, they're certified financial aid administrators, right? So they're part of the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators. So that's a group that advocate for all student loan borrowers and help with the laws and lobbying down in DC. They got an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau. They're a small woman-owned business certified, and they're certified economically disadvantaged woman-owned business. So they have the certifications. If you go look at any of those other organizations I mentioned that you're probably part of, you'll find out that they don't have these certifications, but you will go to the complaint database and find a lot of complaints from them. So with that said,
Charles, we do have a question about that. We have a question about thoroughly vetting the organization, and I think just that last slide you showed us with the Better Business Bureau speaks for itself.
Right. So for most people, they don't know what that means. So when I go through my veteran certification, you have to literally every year recertify. You got to submit tax forms, business, your financials. I mean, they collect everything about you. It's like sharing your life with them just to become certified. So if you go do some business or work with someone, see if they're certified. If not, the Better Business Bureau, I've heard rumors that you can pay them for an A+ rating, but I don't know about it because I haven't applied for that. But I know for this certified economically disabled certification and the SBA certification, oh yeah, you will submit your life. And in order to stay qualified, you have to do it every single year. Did that answer the question?
Misha, is that satisfactory? Do you have some more to add to that question? You can unmute yourself.
Yep, that's good. I was just concerned because of, as the young lady in the video presented, so many different so much information, and organizations or businesses claim that they can do all these different things, and just wanted to, just kind of verify that the organization has been vetted. And I asked that question before the last slide, so thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
sure.
no problem.
I know that just from listening to this and kind of going through this myself, you can, go through this process yourself with Fed loans,
Yes, you can.
but
Yes, you
it
can.
is an intensive process. So you can do it yourself for free, but
Yes,
it
you
is an
can.
intensive process. So just want to make sure you
So,
guys know that.
no, that's one thing I wanted to stress too. That's why I ain't put no costs or anything associated on this on the presentation other than what I personally did.
Yes.
But just remember, when you go through this yourself, because Fed loan hiring new people, they don't know the process that well, and they putting people in bad situations. Do some reading on your own. I mean, I did my own application, which is about 40, 50 pages for my 501(c), my non-for-profit. And I did get approved on the first time through. But it took a lot of research, reading, and submit all the proper documentation to the government and to the state to become qualified as a 501(c) organization. So do your research.
We actually have a question about that, Charles, with regards to the 501(c)(3) process. How did you get help for your paperwork for creating the non-for-profit? The person that asked the question mentions that she inherited a 501(c)(3) from family, but hasn't used it, only kept it registered. Did you start with a nonprofit tax person, or was this something you did yourself?
I actually did it myself. So I'm gonna give you all a secret. So I have this tool called, I might need to close this out so I can see it. I have the software that I purchased, cost me about $69 a year. And it creates any legal document or form I need to use. That means from anything legal, from people charge you for doing wills, for your, I have my own company, so I had to do 1099s for people I do business with, my application for the 501(c) or your business application. It's a tool I use. Let me see if I can just bring it up real quick. It creates all those documents for you. It walks you through the documentation, literally step by step. Like I own the property that I rent out, so I do my statements from that tool. It creates almost everything for me. So the name of it is, hold on one second. It's called Form Swift, Creating Legal Documents. So I think it's about $69 a year, but it creates any form that you need for almost anything. Every time I get ready to do something, if it's something legal I need to turn in, I literally go to that document and it walks you through step by step. I hope that answered your question.
Cynthia, would you like to elaborate on that question, or was that satisfactory?
Thank you.
Okay.
No question is a dumb question. Ask questions because everybody's situation is different. So
we have another question here about, you had mentioned the teacher loan discharge of $17,500. Does that count for university professors?
If it's classified as a tier 1 school, that's all I really do know about it. If it's classified as a tier 1 school, then yes, it would count for that. But I can tell you that when you get ready to go, if you just want to do your free assessment and you have these specific questions, Beverly would have been on the phone, but she just recently, mother-in-law just passed like 2 days ago. Yesterday she called me because she asked more of those detailed questions. I'm more the guy who just knows enough and share my story so that people can look into it themselves. Or if you don't want to do that and you want to pay for a service, then the service is there for you. That's legal and vetted.
Got it. Okay, and then we had another question about, while everything is on hold because of the pandemic, all the loan payments are on hold because of the pandemic, are we getting credit toward our 10-year forgiveness this year?
Yes, you are. Yes, we are, I should say.
Hey!
Yes, we're getting credit towards that. So everyone who's in the program, I did find it on the Student Loan Financial Aid Network website yesterday. You get credit for the whole I think it's like 19 months. But make sure you recertify as soon as they open it back up. October, well, the last day is September 30th, and you start October 1st. So make sure you do your recertification papers. Now, I don't know what's going to happen because Fed Loan is losing the contract. Once again, as I learn more, I will share with Michelle, and she can probably send you more information that I find out about.
We may have another one of these, just sort of an update, maybe in the fall or something like that.
That would be perfect.
And we did have another question here, and is this program called the FAB Loan Program? FAB Loan, is that the same thing, or is this a different thing?
No, I don't know nothing about a FAB loan. Never heard of it before.
Safa, do you want to elaborate? Do you want to unmute yourself, Safa, and elaborate on what you meant with that question? Okay. Maybe
so just to answer it, let me just answer it. So the program is the 2010. It's Healthcare Reform and Educational Reconciliation Act. If you look that up, you'll see it on any government website. Most people is focused on the healthcare reform. They ain't focused on the Educational Reconciliation Act. So when you look at all the marketing material back then, it's all about healthcare reform, healthcare, everything. No one talked about the Educational Reconciliation Act. So what companies ended up doing, they came up with their own name to help you qualify for something they gave a name to. For this, when you go to the government website, you'll see the student loan repayment options, you'll see the discharge program, you'll see the forgiveness programs. That is the only name I know and the only name I did research on that the government defined it as. So if it's a FAB something, it may be a company trying to solicit their version of what they're calling the Educational Reconciliation Act. Just make sure you vet the company first and do some research.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. Thank you so much. And then we did have another question here. I think we're gonna, if you have questions, please type them in the chat. But I just graduated with my bachelor's and thinking of going back for a grad program. Can I apply for the program?
So yes, great question. I should have put that in the presentation. So one of the things that Bear, I learned over the last 2 years is when people graduate and you go back to school, first you want to go ahead and start applying for the forgiveness programs, right? Because you get credit for those loans that you took for your undergrad. And then when you graduate with your graduate program, you can roll those loans into the program that you have and get credit for those years of service that you already was included in the program. Now, there's one caveat. If you work for a non-for-profit, because every year you have to recertify and you move to a for-profit organization, your loan contract will change during certification from 10 years to 20 years. But also vice versa, if you work for a for-profit organization and move to a non-for-profit organization, you will get that credit up until moving from 20 years to 10 years. I hope that makes sense to everyone.
We do have a follow-up to that. Misha mentioned she spoke to someone and was told she had to wait until after she finished her master's.
No, that's not true. So
okay.
I know that for a fact because I've gotten people into the program. They have definitely qualified people for the program, and they actually was going back to school. Now, when you go back to school, what you have to do, when you work with the financial aid office and you fill out your paperwork, she give you specific instructions on when you're applying for your loans to let them know not to take you out of the program. Because what financial aid organizations will do is take you out of the program and later move you into the regular repayment program or put you in forbearance. You don't want that. And she can walk you through on the conversation you need to have with the financial aid office and how you should approach that process. Or you can read it. It's out there. Now, where is that? I don't quite know because I wasn't in that predicament, so I can't speak to it. But that you don't have to do that.
And I guess I was asking because they were telling me that the loans that I had with another I'll just say provider, transferred over to some kind of consolidation. It's a totally different, I guess, program that I don't know if they purchase your loan or how that works, but they just said once you're done with school, you have to get all of those things transferred over there. But I appreciate. I'm happy I joined in. I'm on another conference call and I'm trying to work, but I'm happy I joined in, and I definitely I need someone to do the legwork for me. So I guess I'm going to have to pay what needs to be done. But thank you.
Right, but and then when you talk to Bev, just send me an email and I connect you with her. All the upfront research is free.
And I
She'll
did
tell you what she can do for you. That's all free, literally. And then if you decide to use a service, you can take it. If not, you can go ahead and do it on your own.
And I did send you a message in the chat. So
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Just a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap it up because I want to be mindful of everyone's time. The next question we have here is, are school counselors, clinical mental health school counselors, eligible for student loan forgiveness, or is this only for teachers?
Oh, no. If most school counselors work for a non-for-profit, most hospitals are non-for-profit, most health centers are non-for-profit, you will qualify for the 10-year forgiveness. And if there's a program that they come out with, just need to do the research to see if they have a discharge for those people with that profession. Because I know nurses, they have because of the pandemic, I know they got discharge program for nurses.
There's a lot of different opportunities. And, if you have specific questions, I would definitely encourage you to get in touch with Charles. He's would be the person for more information and more expertise. So yeah, definitely. And I will send an email out with how to get in touch with Charles. So you guys can definitely reach out. We have just a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap it up. Do you have any programs within your non-for-profit that helps with financial freedom and starting things like non-for-profits, anything like that? Any additional services around non-for-profits?
No, because that's my free work.
Okay.
We try to give back for that, and I do this because I'm a retired IT professional. I still do IT consultants and executive coaching. I do leadership, keynote speaking. But this program is so important to me, the way it's benefiting me. So many people just don't know about it. And then listening to the testimonies over the years, I continue to just support the program. Because if you don't know better, you can't do better. Here we are, getting an education. Now, my job is to help people grow. That's why one of the reasons I wrote the book. It gives you those tools to help you help yourself. Then you can help other people by living your life by example. So I hope that makes sense.
No, thank you so much. We've learned so much. We're getting some fantastic kudos to you, Charles, in the chat. So we appreciate you. I will say that if you do work for Governor State University, you qualify for this program for sure. The 10-year forgiveness, that is. So if you work for Governor State, if you work for anything that's non-for-profit, you qualify. So be sure to look into it if you haven't already. I want to thank everyone here for your time. Charles, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
We would definitely like to have another one of these in the fall with any kind of updates that there might be. This was interesting information. If you guys joined us a little bit late, please put your email in the chat. I will be sending out all the good information that we found out about today. Charles, just send me your links. We will also be sharing Charles's book, link to purchase his book. And I will share his email as well so you guys can reach out to him direct. Again, Charles is the founder of Woodlawn Diversity in Action. It's an educational group that supports messaging like this. He's also the owner of Creating Life Goals and the author of the book, The Path to True Leadership. So I definitely invite you to check out his website at www.charleslgill.com for more information. And please look for my email. You'll have a link for this recorded session, and of course, the links to the other materials from today's presentation. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Charles. Have a great day. Have a great day, everyone. Charles, just after the presentation, if you can just send me a link with some of the articles and the different reference materials that you sent. We'd also like a link for that financial aid network so I can distribute that.
Yep.
This was great. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No problem. And thank you,
All
everyone.
right. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.